Hey guys, what's going on? So this is going to be a video for the Queen Guild Boss for version 1.3, second week of Guild Bosses. So yeah, let's just start with taking a look at kind of our turn order here. So note, I am going to do 2 runs in this video. I saw Earphone did an A0 and an A1 plus guide, and I think that's a good idea for people who may not have her like we do in our guild. We have an A2 Makoto, so that's who I'll be using for the second half of this, but someone in our guild does have an A0, so I'll be using that for the first half. And as far as turn order goes, you're going to want to stick pretty strict to this. Vino 1, Wonder 2, Leon 3, and then Queen 4. I am using the Senite Inferno dagger. I know a lot of people are using this Arcanine dagger. I just don't see a place in the rotation right now where I'd want to attack with Wonder, which kind of, if you're not attacking with Wonder, this dagger is kind of useless. So I've been using Senite Inferno. And then as for personas, I'm using Dionysus, Jikokuten, and Yanosik. If you are not level 70 yet, feel free to swap in Komokuten for Dionysus. I would use him here just for reference, but I have him used on my Fox side. So let's take a quick look at kind of the personas and what skills we're going to be using on them. For Dionysus, obviously he comes with Revolution, and Rebellion is really the only skill you'll need to train on him for this fight. And then if you need some speed tuning, try throwing an Agility Master 1 or 2 on him and see if that helps at all. I have Torukaja, but that won't be necessary for this fight because we're using Jikokuten, who I'm using Jikokuten just because you get an extra attack percentage buff when you use a skill on an ally, so it's just like an extra 15% for 2 turns. And then Yanosik, you're going to want to use here. The only skill you need to make sure you have is Rakunda. And we'll use that as a defense down once we enter the weakened phase. And yeah, you can use these 3 personas, or really, if you aren't level 70 and you don't have Jikokuten, and you have Rebellion and Torukaja on Komokuten, that'll work fine as well. But those are the main skills you're going to need. You're going to need Rebellion, Torukaja, and then Rakunda on Yanosik. As for what card sets you're going to want here, I'm just going to put them up on the screen and read through them real quick. Nothing crazy. Vino is using Departure and Control. Leon is using Trust and Prosperity. Note on that in a second. Okeon is using Trust and Power. And Queen is using Awareness and Truth. My Leon has the Prosperity set, which is the 25% highlight boost. So you will not have the exact highlight rotation if you don't have this Prosperity set effect on one of your characters. I would recommend having it on either Leon or Okeon, as you're taking a lot away from Queen and Vino if you try and slap them on there. Alright, so let's start with the A0 run. Like I said, my rotations are going to be pretty similar, if not identical. But just kind of showing you what score maybe you could expect if you run something similar to this. So we're going to start with Vino's skill 1. And then we are going to use Revolution on Queen. Leon will use Justice Barrier on Queen. And then Queen is going to use skill 1, Sanction Drift, on the boss. I use a lot of skill 1 in this rotation I'm running on both sides. It was the most effective way for me to get all 5 of the elemental ailments on the boss for the last turn of the weakened phase. And that's kind of what my main goal was, and our main goal of this strat here. So we have Okeon up. We're going to go ahead and use Okeon's skill 3 on Queen. Now Vino, before Vino goes, we're going to want to use Leon's highlight on Queen here. I went back and forth between the Dionysus highlight and Leon's highlight. I just think this rotation works out a little bit better for us. It's a little bit easier to use Leon's rotation later if you just kind of get the kind of his highlight out of the way earlier. And then we're going to go ahead and use skill 3 on the boss here, on Vino. Turn 2, we're going to go ahead and switch to Jikokuten and use Torukaja on Makoto. Like I said, if you are just using, Komokuten, or, you have Torukaja on Dionysus, that's fine. I'm just getting like the extra little boost from his passive here. Then we're going to go ahead and Leon's turn, we're going to use Ultima Booster on Queen. And then we're going to go ahead and use Sanction Drift again. If you have to restart, if something goes wrong, don't feel bad. I restart each of these boss fights many times. So then you're going to go ahead, Vino, skill 1. Now we're going to switch back to Dionysus. Again, if you have Komokuten, you need Rebellion, but go ahead and use Rebellion on Queen. Alright, highlights are back up, but we will not use them yet. We will be saving this for the beginning of the weakened phase. So we'll go ahead with Leon and use Ultima Booster again. Queen, Sanction Drift again. So now hopefully, kind of what I look at here is how many of the elemental ailments on the boss right now have 2 turns left, which means they'll stay on him until the end of the end of this weakened phase. So Shock is the only one that needs to be reapplied this turn, and we'll have a chance to do that with Vino's skill 1, which we're going to use here in a second, and Okeon can also apply elemental ailments. So kind of the main goal that we want here is on this final turn, when Queen is going to highlight and use her skill 3, we want to make sure that he's got 5 elemental ailments on him, and Vino's used her skill 3 just to get like max nuke damage up, and yeah, get the highest score we can possibly get here, hopefully. Now Okeon is back up, so we're going to use Okeon's skill 1 here on Queen. And then we're in pretty good shape. Normally I would, if you have more than just one of these, if you're missing like 2 or 3 of these elemental ailments, I would recommend here using Vino's highlight. But because we're only missing 1, I'm willing to risk it, and I'm going to go ahead and use Dionysus's highlight for the 27% damage up for the next 2 turns. Like I said, if you're, if you had Shock, Windswept, and Burn all at 1 turn, I would go ahead and use Vino's highlight there instead. But because I'm in good shape with how, the RNG of the ailments being applied has worked out, I feel pretty comfortable, and it's probably going to bite me because Okeon did not reapply Shock. So, a bad move on my part, but, it was a risk I was willing to take for potentially a better score. And now on Wonder's turn, we're going to swap over to Yanosik and use Rakunda. Yanosik's passive Mark. The reason you want to use Yanosik for this is because he will also apply an extra 38.9% defense down because of his passive. If you were wondering why, switch to Yanosik for that. Then we're going to go ahead and use Justice Barrier on Queen. And now we are going to Crash Out. And we are going to use skill 3 on the boss. And now, actually, here is our last chance for Okeon to hopefully apply Shock. Use Okeon's skill 3 on Queen. We got unlucky. She applied Freeze. So, it does take a little bit of RNG. Now, this is like not going to be the most optimal run that this team can get, but kind of that's what you're looking for if you're trying to follow this. So when we use Vino's skill 3 here, we want as many elemental ailments applied as possible. So we're not going to get max damage up, but 4 of the 5 isn't terrible. And then we're going to come in here to Dionysus and reapply Revolution. Highlights are up, but we are going to wait. Ultima Booster on Queen. And now here is kind of where we try and make our money with this team, is this highlight. And one last skill 3. And let's see what we finish with here. 27 million. Okay, so, you know, nothing crazy, but like I said, this was kind of suboptimal. We did not get the last elemental ailment that we needed for Vino. So I would say this is probably more of like, if everything went well, this is probably more like 28. You could probably get another couple 100,000 if things break a different way here or there. Right, so let's get this started. This is the, my queen here is A2. This is one of our guild queens, but the rotation is identical to if you have an A1 queen. So we'll go ahead and use Vino's skill 1. Revolution on queen. Leon, Justice Barrier on queen. And the rotation, I believe, is identical to the one we used for the A0, so if you don't feel like watching the rest of this, this is more just to show you kind of what the damage difference is going to be between the two. Which is why, you know, if you see someone with a, you know, 40 million score and you're like, wow, you know, why didn't I get anything near that? I did the exact same rotation. It's just the dupes on queen just provide so much damage. So we're going to go ahead here and use Retro Dance Number, skill 3 on Makoto. Go ahead and use Leon's Highlight on queen. Vino, skill 3 on the boss. We're going to switch to Jikokuten, Tarakaja on queen. Leon, Ultima Booster on queen. And then queen is going to again use skill 1, Sanction Drift. Alright, now Vino, skill 1 again. Switch back to Dionysus and use Rebellion on queen. Highlights are up again. We're going to go ahead and use Ultima Booster on queen. I debated on kind of how I wanted to do this run here. There is a strategy. Because he has burn on, he's going to lose about 40,000 health here. So there is a strat where you use President's Prowess on, you know, either Leon or Vino, whichever one's lower health, and then kind of hope that they survive the next AoE Heatwave hit he's going to use, and let the burn finish him off. And then Queen will have the Prowess. It's like 43%, I believe, attack boost or something in the 40s for the final phase. But I know a lot of people are struggling to have their Vinos and Leons survive 2 turns. I can barely get them to survive the 3. It has to be like perfect. I reran this like 6 times earlier to try and get it to happen. And there's still other RNG that can ruin it, so you could be here all day if you want to try and like min-max this RNG wise. So I think just the most consistent thing to do is just use Sanction Drift here again, reapply all these elemental ailments, and then hope that Vino and Okeon can take care of reapplying. It looks like Freeze is going to be the lone 1-turn ailment that he has left on him right now. So yeah, so now we're going to go ahead and again we're going to gamble that Vino or Okeon can apply Freeze. In fact, we can actually maybe take a shot right now and use Club Okeon, skill 1 on Queen. She did not proc the Pulsating Rhythm. Let's go ahead and use Wonder's Highlight here. And take a chance again. Use skill 1. Shock. We have one more chance for Okeon to apply Freeze. Again, it would probably be more consistent for Vino to just use her Highlight here, but I am gambling a little bit, because if it does work out, you end up getting the extra 27% final damage from Wonder. But now we're going to swap over to Yanosik, Rakunda, Leon, Justice Barrier, We're going to crash out. And then we're going to go ahead and use skill 3. You can just see, like, just the raw damage. Like, that was 600. I think we got 3 or 350 on the A0, so just the awarenesses do so much here. And this is where we kind of see if our gamble paid off. We're going to go skill 3 on Okeon and see if we get a freeze here. We did. We got lucky. Okay, so if you didn't know what Okeon does, for every 4 beat stacks she gets, she inflicts a random elemental ailment on the foe with the highest remaining HP. Obviously, we only have 1 here. And this team, she has a chance to gain beat stacks when someone inflicts elemental ailments. So this whole team is kind of about inflicting elemental ailments, and the fact that we're using Queen skill 1 so often, she's proccing this like 3 times during this fight, 4 times, something like that. So there's always a good chance she's going to apply the ailment. It's just a matter of, like, is it the right one? So now he's going to have all 5 elemental ailments on, which means Bullseye Bomber is going to give us max damage up, which is nice. We are going to switch back to Dionysus, Revolution on Queen, Leon, Ultima Booster, and now we are going to highlight 505, that's not bad. And then Thermonuclear Fury, her skill 3. That's not as much as I'd wanted. So this will not be my best run here, but it's 47. Yeah, it's not bad. I think that's still top 1, although I won't be able to see because I think it's gonna have my old one on here still. Yep, but this exact rotation, I don't believe I used the Presidential Prowess kind of strat. I broke 50 million the other day on this with this exact team, so you know, if you run it a couple of times, do the same thing over and over again, eventually, you know, some RNG will break in your favor, and you know, there's always like a percentage of points, that standard deviation of these fights. So if you run the exact same fight 3 times, you might get 3 completely different scores. I'd say this strat that I'm using right now gets me anywhere from like 45 to 50, like guaranteed. So, and we're kind of right in the middle of that right now. So yeah, hopefully you guys got something useful out of this. Just kind of a different strat, because I saw Earphone was using like a Earphone strat's like way different from kind of how I had initially done it, and so yeah, I just wanted to provide something a little bit different. His is probably, like I said in my last video, whatever Earphone does is probably the most optimal, and he's way better at this than I am. But I just want to try and provide maybe a little bit of a different strategy for you to use. So hopefully you learned something from it. Yeah, if you have any questions or whatever, just leave them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer, try and help anybody with something they don't understand maybe. But yeah, otherwise, thanks for watching and have a good one.